There is a little handout. Yes, it's 3 pages. It's for you guys to do. Not in here, because you don't have to share the results with anyone. It's honestly for you guys, okay? It's something that we do in the therapy office, but it is literally titled the Self-Care Assessment. Like, how do we take care of ourselves? Self-care assessment. How are we doing on taking care of ourselves? There's a problem with teaching everyone around us that they come first. What's that problem? You've taught them that you come last. I have a poem that I want to read to you guys that is something that honestly I think we all need to hear. Okay? To laugh is to risk appearing a fool. To weep is to risk appearing sentimental. To reach out for another is to risk involvement. To expose feelings is to risk rejection. To place your dreams before the crowd is to risk ridicule. To love is to risk not being loved in return. And to go forward in the face of overwhelming odds is to risk failure. However, risks must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. She who risks nothing, does nothing, has nothing, is nothing. She may try to avoid suffering and sorrow, thereby harming self. For she cannot learn, she cannot feel, cannot grow, cannot change, and cannot truly love. For it is precisely in challenging these moments of vulnerability and compassion for self that she finds her strengths. She breaks the chains of fear-based certitudes. She has not forfeited her freedom, her truth, her essence, or herself. She has risked everything to hold up those around her through feeling, growing, changing, and loving. She is risk. She is love, and she is free. So, risk exposing feelings, right? I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve. Do you notice I'm a little welly right now? It's just who I am. Can I accept that? Yeah. Is that a good thing? Yeah. So I'd love to know if any of you are willing to be put on the spot and kind of share their thoughts about that poem.
To talk about our own humanity and the range of emotion that comes with being human, right? And there is no such thing as a perfect human, right? I like to say, we are not human doers, right? We are human beings, yet we never really get the opportunity just to be. Right? Because really we act all the time doing, especially as moms and women and all those things. With risk, it's not just a one-time thing. Every time you show up, you speak out, you advocate, right? You make a hard choice, like every time it's a risk, right? And so just acknowledging ourselves for every time we do that, that's, a wonderful opportunity to remind ourselves of, that we're human and that, we are strong. And strength appears in so many ways, right? So, and one of the ways it can show itself is through power, And so it's not just putting on this happy face of, everything's great and succumbing to those societal pressures that we feel. But when we really get real with ourselves, like, again, we're human beings, we have this range of emotion that is appropriate, right? And one of the ones that gets denied most for us as women, I've found, is anger. And so, yeah, so it's like, permission is not there. Even though we're human beings and we feel the whole range of anger, right? Which stems from a subtle frustration or irritation to rage, right? And I know every single one of us in this room has experienced the spectrum of all of those, if we're willing to acknowledge it or not. So what we're gonna do now is kind of some helpful ways of giving ourselves permission to feel and allow what's there. Okay, so first just have everyone, if you can, it's comfortable, to put both feet on the ground for a moment. And let's just kind of get connected a little bit to some support here. So if everyone can just kind of notice their feet on the floor and that there is this floor underneath us, right? That's very solid and there. Yeah. Notice the chair you're sitting in or the couch, and just how that is to connect with that for a moment. Yeah. And, it doesn't have to be the worst thing, but just think of a minor irritation, maybe that already happened today, maybe in the morning, maybe getting here, maybe with a partner or with our child. And just notice as you think about this moment, irritation, just notice if anything shifts internally. Yeah, when we get a little bit of charge, right, we can think of irritation, frustration as this little more charge that happens. Muscles might get a little tighter. Yeah. And let's just notice it. Like, we don't have to shy away from this. This is part of our human experience. And so can I just notice my body has a response? That's appropriate. Right? And just notice what it feels like, just to acknowledge that it's okay to have this. And then I'd like for you either to engage your muscles a little bit. We can do this a couple different ways. We can do this by making fists, squeezing our hands together, and just meeting that energy or the muscle constriction that we feel, and really noticing the contraction, right, as we squeeze our fists, as we kind of feel that tension moving up our arms, and even down our shoulder blades, and even into our core. I always make a face when I do the last part, right? And just kind of embodying it, like, yes, I'm upset right now. This is not okay with me for some reason. My body's having a response, and how can I honor it? And so holding, squeezing, and then when you're ready, just let go. And just noticing, what happens after. All right, so we're gonna shift now to the other side, right? Part of the work that I do is all about the pendulation, right? And moving from, feeling a little more dysregulated into more regulation. So we're gonna move now into more regulation. Cool. And one of the ways we do that is through contact. Yeah. So touch is the earliest sense to come online in utero. So everybody has different relationships with touch, so no one has to do anything they're not comfortable with today. But I would also like to just offer you some options One that you can provide for yourself, self-contact, and then for somebody else, okay? So the first one we're gonna do, and some of you may have done this already, but we call this heart belly. Yeah? So we have one hand on the center of our chest and one hand on our belly. And let's just notice just what it's like to feel the contact. You might notice the weight or the temperature. You might notice one area over the other. You might feel your breath or your heartbeat. Yeah. And this is this kind of universal, compassionate gesture, right? And if we think of how we hold our babies, right? Right, but we can hold ourselves too. So as you take a moment just to get to feel that self-compassionate gesture and contact, just notice what it's like. And everyone's experience may be different, and that's totally okay. As you kind of come back into the room, just wondering if anyone would offer what it's like for them, just to make this gesture, to feel their own contact, how that is. Now we're gonna do one for someone else. And if anyone's uncomfortable with touch or having someone touch them, you totally don't have to do it. You can just observe. That's totally fine. This is more about just kind of exploring a little bit with regulation. So you can go next to or behind, whatever's more comfortable. So if we're next to, we're just gonna offer some support on the shoulders here, of the upper. Yeah, and so we can notice, in terms of pressure, what feels better. We can do more pressure or less pressure, right? You can experiment, right? And then how the body knows that. The body knows what it likes, and we can honor it, right? So that's one option. You can kind of play around with whatever feels best. We're just gonna have a couple minutes each. Okay, another one would be your necklace here. One on the chest and one between the shoulder blades. I'm gonna turn you around so everyone can see. Yeah, does this feel better? Does this feel better?
That's good, yeah.
This way?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Actually, move it back that way. Yes. And push.
And push. Okay, so notice. And then third option, right, is our diaphragm. So right here.
Push a little bit.
More contact. You can have one or not. You're in chairs, so I'm just giving her a little more support.
I like that.
You like that, yeah.
Yeah, it feels balanced that way. If
Yeah.
it's just pushing on one side for me, it doesn't. It
Yeah.
throws it off.
Yeah, if you don't have the chair, you can offer the hand on the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll give you a couple minutes and just explore what feels better. What does my body like better? And just see between those three, or I definitely don't want this one. I definitely just want to start here. I just want to stay here. Whatever, it's all good. So
Take a risk, ladies.
take a risk. And community, right? We need each other. So let's just practice a little bit.